A counterfeit is an imitation of the Lord's promise. It looks like the real thing. It looks like it's what one has prayed for.
Yeah.
But it's not from the Lord.
Yeah.
And it's only one other option.
Okay. There's no gray in the kingdom.
It's either from God or it's from Satan. There's no in between.
Sometimes a counterfeit really does look like a good opportunity. I know I've experienced that before, where it looks like a good job that pays more. You know, it looks good. It's not necessarily bad, right?
Yeah.
But is it from God?
Sometimes we produce our counterfeit from our own flesh. Our counterfeits are our own, like you said, our own timeline.
Yeah.
My impatience can produce a counterfeit. Anything outside of the Lord's will is a counterfeit.
Yeah.
So
that punchline. Yeah. Anything outside of the Lord's will is a counterfeit. Yeah. Simple and short. Yeah. Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Yellow Podcast. It's your girl, EK, your favorite host. And this is a really special episode because I'm here with a very special guest. So in this episode, it's not just me sitting on the couch, okay? We have someone joining us. And she is an addiction psychiatrist in Philadelphia. First of all, addiction psychiatrist. Like, I remember when you told me you did that, and I was just like, wow, that's so powerful. She works with patients with drug and alcohol addiction, and she also works with peripartum patients with psychiatric disorders and drug addictions. She also serves in the prayer team and the inner healing and deliverance ministry at her local church, which, by the way, happens to also be my local church, okay? This is also someone who I'm, just fortunate and privileged to have also been developing just an amazing sister relationship with. She's my friend and my sister in Christ. So join me as we welcome Sarah Tabi to the Yellow
Podcast. Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm just so excited to have you on my couch.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on your couch.
Yeah. Also, guys, just so you know, this has been a long time coming.
Oh, yes.
Okay? How long has it been now?
You've been asking me for like 2 years.
Yeah. yeah. Okay. So you guys know my behavior. Yes. So, but I'm so glad that we made it work.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And our topic today is,
a good one.
It's a good one, okay? We're going to be talking about counterfeits today. Specifically, what is, the counterfeit versus the promise. Like, what is the difference between a counterfeit and then something that is actually from God, or someone that is actually from God? Because we know oftentimes when people talk about counterfeits, it's relationships, okay? But of course, there can be counterfeit opportunities, counterfeit jobs, counterfeit friendships, and different things like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I feel like, guys, like, this is literally, like, it might sound like a deep topic to you guys, but when I tell you this is me and Sarah's regular baseline conversation out at coffee. Literally, this is what we're talking about, okay? So when you hear, like, the word counterfeit, like, I guess, like, what does it mean to you? How would you generally define a counterfeit from a biblical perspective?
I think a counterfeit is an imitation of the Lord's promise. But it looks like the real thing. It looks like it's what one has prayed for.
Yeah.
But it's not from the Lord.
Yeah.
And it's only one other option.
Okay. There's no gray in the kingdom.
It's either from God or it's from Satan. There's no in between.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I love that definition. And I love how you emphasize that it is an imitation of God's promise. Because I think oftentimes when people think counterfeit, they're thinking of this obvious thing that is not from God, like something that is obviously dark or obviously just anti God's promise. But the reality is it looks a lot like it, right? There's this similarity. It's almost like, like I love how in scripture it says that the enemy masquerades as an angel of light.
I was going to even say that. Exactly. Yeah.
Which is like interesting because how many of us probably, thought of the devil appearing as like a beast? Like the devil he just looks like a beast. But the Bible describes him as an angel of light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like what does that, like when you even just think of that verse, how does that even add to that definition of counterfeit?
That's good. Yeah, no. It shows that even something that's not from the Lord could look or be attractive.
Yeah.
It could be tempting. It could look like the right thing. It could look like the answered prayer. Because the enemy, like you said, has the power to disguise himself as an angel of light. Yeah. So that means that something could come our way, a blessing could come our way, and it could look like it's from the Lord.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Right. Like it's not going to come as this guy with walking red flags and, who is just outrightly bad,
Exactly.
I think even something that I saw recently that I was just like, whoa, like this is really good. Someone said that a counterfeit isn't even always a bad thing. A counterfeit can be a good thing, but it's not a God thing. And I was like, whoa, that's really good.
That is good.
Right. Because it's like, it's not, sometimes a counterfeit really does look like a good opportunity. I know I've experienced that before where it looks like a good job that pays more. It looks good. It's not necessarily bad, right?
Yeah.
But is it from God? That's like the bigger, like the bigger question.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, because it's making me reflect on situations that I thought were from God. Like it makes me think of when as you know, like you said, I'm a doctor, and before I switched to psychiatry, I was actually an OBGYN doctor. I did 1 year of OBGYN residency for internship, and I was thinking that I've been trying to get out of Syracuse for the longest time. No offense to people from Syracuse, but I'm a New Yorker. I'm a city girl, and I was just like ready to jump out. And the first opportunity I had to get out of Syracuse, for the first time, I learned what it looks like to not be in the Lord's favor. I took being in the Lord's favor for granted for so long that when I actually lived it, I was like, okay, this looks different. Like I lived in New Jersey for a year, but I still could not find the church. I lived there a whole year, still did not get connected to one church. On top of that, like I had community, but I didn't have any godly community. So it seemed like everything felt hard, like harder than it normally does. Couldn't find a godly community, couldn't find a church. Was miserable. Was not thriving in my residency. I just did not have favor with people I was working with. No one. My boss felt like he was out to get me. He said that he would blackball my career, and he said I was a bad doctor. And I took the Lord's favor for granted for so long that when I was outside of it, I thought, oh, this was my chance. This is my time to jump out. And I did not know, like, wow, it looks this brutal, like when I'm outside the Lord's favor. And then the Lord brought me right back to Syracuse because he wasn't done with my time in Syracuse yet. I ended up living there for 8 years.
Wow.
But it was in that season of launching that he equipped me and prepared me for my time in Philly and all the ministry opportunities I'm doing in Philly. Like it was honed in Syracuse.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So what was it about the other, like outside of it, that was appealing to you?
Oh, which part is appealing? You mean
Yeah, like the part that was, because obviously it's not appealing to be outside of God's favor.
No.
But what was it that even appealed to you before you decided to go back to Syracuse?
Oh, like what about moving to New Jersey appealed to
Yes,
me?
yeah.
Getting out of Syracuse was the appeal. I was
Okay,
like,
okay.
I'm finally getting out of Syracuse, and I was ready to jump on the first ship out of Syracuse. Like
Yeah.
I was like ready. Like I was like, I need a city. I'm tired of the snow. I'm I'm just ready to leave and be in a bigger, like more metropolitan area.
Yeah.
So it was, I would say, more my urgency to leave,
Mm.
not knowing the Lord wasn't done with
Right.
my time there yet.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Because sometimes, like, when it comes to God's promise, right? It's not, it's God's promise is not always something that appeals to our flesh or our idols or what we want in that particular moment. God's promise is also very much connected with his will for our lives. And so even sometimes it's easy, like I'm sure I've been there where sometimes it seems like the one that is actually God, it seems like it's not God because it seems like it will be more difficult.
Yeah.
Right. So we're like, there's no way that it would be God.
Right.
You know, and I'm immediately reminded of just the story of Sarah and Hagar and Abraham and that whole story.
We're going there now.
Yes.
Okay.
That whole story of, you know, like Isaac and Ishmael. I feel like that's such a one of the best like biblical highlights of counterfeits, like actually seeing how it plays out in action, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm even reminded of it is because like Isaac, Isaac was the covenant. Isaac was the promise from God. But Isaac did not come in an appealing package in the sense that Isaac did not come when Sarah was in her 20s. Isaac did not come at Sarah's own timing. And so it's very easy when it seems like the one that is God's promise requires more waiting, more work, more faith, more sacrifice. It's easy for us to think, maybe that's not God. Maybe God is calling me to step out and help him. Hence where Ishmael came in.
Sometimes we produce our counterfeit from our own flesh. Our counterfeits are our own, like you said, our own timeline.
Yeah.
My impatience can produce a counterfeit.
That's good.
And that's what happened with the Syracuse situation. The Lord was trying to bring something to completion there. I may be a city girl trapped in upstate New York, but there's some fruit that he was trying to develop, some character he was trying to develop there, and he was not done yet. But my impatience said, but I'm done now. So I'm ready to bounce. So it's funny because I think we should think about internal versus external counterfeits. How sometimes our own flesh produces counterfeits internally versus an external counterfeit for us to recognize from the outside. So I never thought of it this way before, like an internal counterfeit versus an external counterfeit, the internal versus external experience of a counterfeit. My impatience brought a counterfeit.
Yeah.
I was done with Syracuse. I was done. The Lord wasn't done, but I was done. So I left, already producing myself in a counterfeit situation no matter where I ended up. Anything outside of the Lord's will is a counterfeit.
Yeah.
So
that punchline. Anything outside of the Lord's will is a counterfeit. Simple and short. Wow. No, I love what you said about how like our own impatience can produce counterfeit. Like, it's not just idols. It's not just our idols that produce it, but our own impatience, right? Like in the case of the story of, you know, Sarah and Abraham, right? Like they had already received a word from the Lord. The Lord had already said, I'm going to give you a son, right? But there's this thing that happens when, like, obviously when the Lord gives us a word, he's going to do it in his way, by his will, according to his own timing, right? But when our flesh is impatient, there becomes this temptation to help the Lord do what he's promised that he's gonna do. And like that's where the deception comes in, because I think deception plays a really huge role in counterfeit, right? Totally. Because that's where the deception comes into, like, there are literally people that will start to actually convince themselves, this is what the Lord wants me to do. Like in the case of Sarah, like, surely the Lord wants me to have a child. So let me partner up with the Lord
Yeah.
and help him bring this into fruition. Because obviously the Lord knows I am old. So clearly, like you see how we start to rationalize
Yes,
and
exactly.
reason?
Yeah.
That's so good. Like counterfeit, a lot of the times, it comes from our own impatience. And because the enemy knows, okay, this person is lacking the fruit of patience. Now the enemy is going to come and deceive you to think this is
Yes.
what God wants you to do.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, like God has promised you marriage, but he wants you to help him. You know, you know how people start to, he wants you to help him. Maybe
Yeah.
by, oh, look at this guy. This guy he's not walking with the Lord. Maybe the Lord wants you to help him walk with the Lord and walk him into becoming your future husband. Like, do you see that?
That's why I think what you wrote in your book was so important, right? About how to identify your emotions and take it to the Lord and your own emotional regulation. I know I'm feeling this anxiety, but what's the root of this anxiety? Is my anxiety from a place of impatience? Because remember, anxiety is a mix of unprocessed emotions. Yeah. So if I'm having anxiety about something, is it from a place of impatience? And first, that means I have to identify I'm having impatience. And I remember my pastor said the root of all sin is impatience. Ooh. So I'm like, okay, if I'm feeling impatient right now, then I'm more likely to do something reckless. I'm more likely to do something and rationalize and spiritualize it and say, oh, it must be from the Lord.
Yeah.
And then partner with something broken.
So many stories that I could share. Okay, like so many that I could share on that. Like, I'm thinking of like, so I had this job, right? I had this really good, really stable job that I didn't understand. It didn't seem like the Lord because the pay was average. Like, I just feel like, I can't, for who I am and for what I studied, I can't be earning that. You know what I mean? But it's like, the economy is rubbish. We'll manage it. And so I was just earning pretty much an average, amount of money. But the job was stable in the sense that it was getting me through a season. Okay. This was before Toby and I even got engaged or married or any of that, right? This was I had this job for like 3 years or so. So it was pretty much just routine, nothing special, not really getting accomplishments or anything. But it was a job that the Lord was using to see me through a season. And so I remember at some point in 2023, they had announced during a meeting at work that they're not getting any more funding. And so they're going to be shutting down the department. But it was still kind of like a future thing. Like, they were pretty much letting us know you're still gonna have your job for like 7 months or something, but definitely start looking for other things because we're closing down the department and everyone's gonna lose their jobs. Wow. And so so I remember in that moment the Lord, like, I literally felt it, and I spoke with Toby about it. I felt the Lord saying, like, I don't want you to get tempted to, like, now because of fear and anxiety, to go and start looking for another job and take anything. Wow. You still have 7 months. Remain here. I heard it so strongly, like, because again, when something like that happens, again, like you said, you have to pay attention to the emotion. So immediately I'm hit with fear and anxiety, especially as an international student, where I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to have a job in 7 months. Mind you, I am still being provided for in the moment. I still have a job. But I'm already starting to think of what is to come, what is about to happen to me. But the Lord is like, this job is for you. So don't go anywhere. Don't be quick to whatever. So I didn't listen. I started looking for other jobs because I'm just like, yeah, I spoke to Toby about it. And even Toby was like, yeah, the Lord clearly wants you to be here. Who knows? Maybe in 7 months, they could get that funding. Just remain here. So I started looking for jobs and I found this job that was so attractive because it was literally in line with what I studied. This other one wasn't even in line with what I studied. This was like, I would get my own work cards, like my own like business cards. I would have my own, like my picture would be on the website. You know what I mean? Wow. This was like a job. You guys know what I'm talking about. I kept telling everyone, oh, this is like a big girl job. And for such a big organization and such a big girl job, there were 3 interviews. I aced them. And I remember the third interview, that day when I had the third interview, she called me back in like 20 minutes and was like, yeah, we just couldn't wait to tell you got the job.
Wow.
It was so quick.
Whoa.
Mind you, this was a really, like, the pay was significantly higher than the other one.
Goodness.
So now, because of the emotions that had already deeply seated as idols in my heart, now I was like, definitely the Lord wants me to take this job. You know what I mean? Like, I rationalized it. I was like, it makes sense. For me to get it this fast, it has to be the Lord. For me to, like, what are the odds of all their candidates? It has to be, I'm going on and on. But long story short, I lost that job in 2 months.
No. What?
Yeah.
Man.
I lost that job in 2 months.
And the photo and
all the glamorous, amazing, but
goodness.
Toby knows every single day at that job, those 2 months, I cried. I literally cried. Mind you, let me also mention that this back pain I had started after that job.
No. Are you serious?
I'm so serious. I'm so serious.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because my physical therapist believes it's accumulated stress.
Okay.
Like the anxiety and the fear. And then even in the job that I believed was from the Lord, I was using my own strength to keep it. The other job, I wasn't even the best employee. Like, there were certain things where I'm like, it has to be God that's keeping me here. Because I wasn't even that interested in the job.
Wow.
But this one, I was showing up, I was overcompensating, and I lost it in 2 months.
Man. Like, I just feel like it reminds me of the look at the fruit. I feel like this verse is going to be the theme of our conversation.
Pull it up. Pull it up.
Yeah, no, it's Matthew 7, 15 to 20. And it says, watch out. It says false prophets, but I feel like let's replace false prophets with counterfeits. So watch out for false prophets. I'm going to say counterfeits. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. By their fruit, you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. And then verse 20 says, thus, by their fruit, you will recognize them. So it's like thinking about checking the fruit. And when you go to the grocery store and you buy fruit's obvious. It can't be hidden. Everyone can see it. When you want to pick fruit from a grocery store, you pick it, you smell it, you touch it, check for bruises. Like, it's obvious when something has bad fruit, right? And I think that's one way to discern, is this a counterfeit? What's the fruit? So the other job, it had its hardships, right? By your own impatience and values of money, you told yourself, okay, I gotta get out of here. But you had favor there. This new job, it had outward trappings of what appeared to be a blessing. It had the money. You had your photo in your website, but you lost in 2 months. You did not have favor there.
Oof, that's so good.
And with the short time you were there, that means there was no room for development or promotion or character development. So it's almost like you built your foundation on sand in that job. It just didn't have the stamina to last.
That's so good. And even with what you're saying about fruit, like the first job, there were fruits. There was actually the fruit of patience, right? Because like I said, I was there for 3 years. So there's something powerful about there's something powerful about, I don't know how to explain it, being in a season over a period of time. I feel like a lot of us, we like, especially with our culture today where everything is quick and fast. But I've noticed that a lot of times, like when God is doing something where he's positioning you in somewhere for such a long period of time, there's fruits that he's trying to develop in that season, right? It was more than just the pay or anything. In that season with that job, I was learning how to deal with difficult supervisors. I was developing the fruit of long suffering. I was learning how to deal with, like the different temptations and thoughts that will come. I was also learning how to steward my money well because the money wasn't that much.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Like I was learning how to steward it well. Mind you, this is God's provision after losing my father, who was also, my father was someone I saw as like a pillar of provision for me.
Okay.
And yet somehow God sustained me over 3 years on something that I didn't think was glamorous, right? And yet it was reputable. It was a job of integrity, and it was a job that I was bearing fruit. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like it sounds like you're developing character.
Yeah.
I want to actually look at the definition of character. Let's see. So character is mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual, or the way someone thinks, feels, and behaves. Someone's personality. So it's a bit deeper than superficial things people can see. I'm going to look up the biblical definition of character. It says, in the Bible, character refers to the moral and ethical qualities that define a person, encompassing virtues like integrity, honesty, faithfulness. It's not just about outward actions, but also the inner motivations and beliefs that shape a person's conduct. The Bible emphasizes the importance of developing good character, both for individuals and for leaders, as it reflects God's own character and influences one's relationship with him and others. Character development, it's not a quick process. It's slow, it's arduous, it's filled with suffering. It's almost like that refiner's fire, right?
Yes.
And when you put a metal through a refiner's fire, the heat of the fire burns off the impurities from the metal, making the metal more pure, more strong. Yeah. And there are seasons in our lives that we too will go through refiner's fire, that we too will go through character development, because that's the most efficient way to have character development, through the fire, through the flame. And it is not comfortable. Flame and fire, it's not comfortable, it's not safe, it's not in our comfort zone. But because of that discomfort, we mistaken it of, it must not be God's will because I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's a discernment to say, like, okay, is this a counterfeit, or is this the character development that comes from me being in my promise?
Ooh, that's good. Woo! That's good. God cares more about your character than he cares about the rewards and the earthly rewards that you're getting from
immediate comforts.
That's it. Ooh, that's it. God cares more about your character than your comfort. That is it. Yeah. And so just because something seems uncomfortable, right? Like maybe just because that waiting season seems uncomfortable while you're waiting for a spouse, or just because being in that job seems uncomfortable, doesn't automatically mean it's a counterfeit, because God cares more. Rather, what you should focus on as potentially counterfeit is the ones that are birthed from your impatience, like we said, the ones that are birthed from your discomfort, the ones that are birthed from your idols, those things that you're idolizing, the ones that are birthed from also your like emotional idols that you haven't dealt with, like the fear and anxiety that I mentioned, right? Yeah. So sometimes we do certain things out of our own fear and anxiety. And that's even another thing that I would add in how we identify counterfeits from the real thing, is oftentimes with counterfeit, you are the one that is going to produce that thing, not with the Lord's favor, but by your own doing. Does that make sense? Because I love how you mentioned favor. So when it comes with something that is from God, there will be the Lord's favor on it. You will know the Lord's favor will be on it, okay? Even if the job, let's say you're earning, even if you're earning so little, somehow everything you need will be provided for. But then when it is not from God, the Lord's favor will not be on it. And so you could be earning millions, you could be earning hundreds of thousands, but somehow you're still stressed, you're still lacking. It's not producing the fruits of peace. It's literally you're now, because you birthed it yourself, you're having to sustain it yourself, and you're getting worn out.
Right. Exactly.
Oof.
And let's think about favor. Like, we keep using that term a lot, and not everyone may even know like what they keep saying when they say favor. I personally like to think of it as like unmerited blessing, like it's undeserved. The person just wants to bless you. They want to do good things for you. They want to, and also you're not even getting the punishment you deserve. It's like there's some mercy involved. I don't know. What do you think of favor when you think of favor?
Yeah. Even as you were saying that, I was just thinking of, like, let's not even look at it deep, right? Look at it in the simplest way of what favor is. Yeah. When you're asking someone, like, if I come to you and I'm like, Sarah, please, can you do me a favor? Like, obviously, even me coming and you asking you that question means at the back of my head, I'm hoping that you would do it, because it's not necessarily merited. It's a favor.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm like, Sarah, I'm entitled to this. Like, do this. It's more of like, please, can you do me a favor? And it's left to you, based on your will, to decide if you're even going to grant that or not. So it's kind of like the same thing with the Lord, where a favor is, like you said, it's undeserved. It's unmerited. He's doing it just straight out of his love and his will. Like, okay, like, I'm going to grant that, from that place of favor.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think when I also think of favor, I think favor is also an anointing. I think favor is also an anointing. When you think about it from a biblical perspective, the favor of the Lord that even rested on David, right? When David was called to be king, right? That is that same favor that kept and sustained David even when Saul was after him, right? Think of just people in the Bible that have said, I've seen favor in your sight, Lord. And so it's being in this place where the reality is, you're not entitled to it, but it's something that the Lord blesses you with.
Right.
So yeah, favor definitely, I think favor plays a part in being able to identify the difference between a counterfeit and a promise from God. Right. Because when it's from God, right, it's just, I feel like you said, the things that are from God, they're not easy. Yeah. But God blesses you in such a way that it didn't come from anybody else. Does that make sense?
You know what? I just had a thought, because according to what you're saying, like, when I think of a counterfeit, there may be immediate comfort, but not long-lasting blessing. Yeah. Whereas something that's from the Lord, there may not be immediate comfort, but the blessings and the character development is long-lasting.
Long-lasting and sustaining.
And it doesn't just bless you. It multiplies and blesses people around you.
Yeah, that's so good. So, okay. So we've mentioned quite a few signs, that something is a counterfeit, the birthed out of your own impatience, something that you're doing by your own strength or power, something that doesn't have the Lord's favor on it. Are there any other common signs you can think of? Let's even talk more about, I feel like we've spoken a lot about something. Let's even talk about someone, right? Like, can you also think of any other signs that someone that is coming into your life, whether it's you're in a season where you're, hoping for a spouse, what are some ways to also be able to tell, this person, it's giving counterfeit?
So me walking in my singleness season, I feel like this is definitely a good topic, because I went through many counterfeits, and I definitely needed the Lord's discernment with each one. I know I shared this vision with you that I'll share with you guys as well. There was a man that I was dating, and I don't know, just something felt off. And I had some friends telling me, hey, Sarah, go for it. And, why not? Because we're just tired of being single and let's just jump into something. And then other friends said, no, 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 this is not from the Lord. Don't go for it. And so I just prayed to God and I asked God, well, what do you have to say about it? Like, what do you, is this from you or not? And the Lord gave me a vision of, he spoke my language. He knows how I speak and he knows I like to shop. So he put me in New York City in my vision. And I was at Canal Street in Chinatown. I don't know if you've been, have you been there before? Yeah, like if you want to get a fake designer bags, everyone knows you go to Canal Street. That's like a New Yorker thing. Like, so it's like, yeah, so in the vision God gave me, I was in Canal Street and I just saw these fake designer bags. And the Lord told me, this man is like one of those fake designer bags that from far away, he looks like the real thing.
Yeah.
But when you open up the bag and you check the stitching and you check the label, you could see that it's not authentic, that it's a counterfeit.
Yeah, I remember this conversation. And like, even as you're sharing, that's such a beautiful vision and analogy. The Lord is just amazing.
Yes, he is.
And like, even as you're sharing it, clearly, something about that vision is in order to know if he's a counterfeit, you have to check, right? Like when you see those bags on Canal Street, like you said, it has the imitation of the real thing. Right. But if you really want to know, you might have to spend just a little bit longer before purchasing the bag. Yeah. There's such a message in that, y'all. Yes. Like before quickly purchasing the bag because, you're thinking, I don't even want to know. I don't care. It looks like the real thing. Like if I have this bag, everyone on my socials, everyone is going to think, wow, congratulations, girl. Look at her. She's doing so well. And sometimes that's also the temptation of going with the counterfeit is I'm tired of being in this season without the thing. Right. Yeah. So it's like, let me just get it. So at least it takes the shame off of me. Everyone is looking like, yes, she has it. She has that bag. But then to really check, right, if it's a counterfeit, you might have to wait at the stand just a little bit longer before walking away. You might have to frustrate the seller just a little bit longer. You might have to check the labels. You might have to evaluate, which is what we're even supposed to be doing anyways, right? So even this goes to show that one thing that will hinder your ability to properly discern a counterfeit is the idols in your heart. Like you have to look at those idols in your heart because if you go on Canal Street and your goal deep down is, I don't care. I just want people to think and know that I got it. Then you're going to go and you don't even want to know anything. You don't even check the inside. Just give it to me, right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So that's counterfeits, true. It's the Lord. I feel like the Lord, obviously we know that it is not the Lord's like will or dream for us to just be experiencing counterfeits, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like there's certain things that the Lord will allow in his sovereignty to reveal the idols in our own hearts.
That is so true.
Does that make sense?
No, you're right. You're right. And I feel that kind of deviates to like kind of my next kind of point is that I feel like in the church it's very common to claim something before it's been confirmed by the Lord. Kind of like, I might as well go there.
Go there.
Man, I can't tell you how many people, including myself, had claimed someone, oh, that's my future husband. And not necessarily. It's really tricky because if someone already proclaimed that word over you, like, oh, that person's your future husband, then you're like, I don't even need to check the inside the bag. I got it. It's done. And I've seen people walk into situations that you know are wrong, but they've already proclaimed it in their minds. In their hearts, they're already married to that person, and there's no turning back. They're tunnel vision. Like, this is it.
Why do you think people like that don't go to the Lord to confirm it for them?
It's funny because they spiritualized it in a way that they told themselves that the Lord confirmed it.
Deception.
Yes. I'm telling you, people will always, if you want, you'll always find people that will agree with exactly what
you
you
want.
want to do.
Yeah, that's so good.
You
That
used to
is
go
so
to
good.
that friend that you know, like you're one of those friends in Ekemini, like you will not always say what I want to hear.
Same. Likewise.
I know I do that for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like it's important to have friends like that around you that you know are just faithfully just telling you what they hear from the Lord and not simply what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, just by always looking for the same people who are just people pleasing and just telling you what everyone want to hear, yeah, go for it. Yeah, that's totally your future husband. That's how you. What's that verse in Proverbs about those who walk with fools?
Ooh,
Like becomes one.
Become fools. Yeah, I don't know
will
where it
become
is.
like one. Like
Yeah.
if you walk with fools, you become like one. So you'll always find someone justifying what you're doing, no matter what it is you're doing. Even though part of you feels like it's wrong, you know?
Yeah. That no facts, because there are certain things where like I have those few people that I know if I know that like yeah, they're gonna tell me the truth, but they might upset me. You know, you're definitely one of those people that I will like reach out to with that. But the crazy thing about that is that the fact that even before reaching, I already know that she's gonna say something I don't want to hear means deep down, I feel like deep down, there's a part of us, like if you're a believer, there's a part of you deep down that knows that this is not okay.
Right.
If you're scared to reach out to that person who is going to call it out, that means you already kind of know.
That's true. No, you're right. Right. No, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And I think that's what removes the like any guilt or kind of feeling that off feeling. It's almost like you bury it with other people's like approval.
Yeah.
And the people that you want to hear. So you bury it so deep. You've almost deaden yourself to the Lord's discernment.
Whew, man, these are such good points. Like,
I honestly, I'm saying this because I was guilty of this myself. There was a guy, the way he came in, which is so strategic. And that's the thing. We always assume when someone comes in, it must be from the Lord. The enemy can send in people too, kind of like to your point earlier. And the way he came in, it was right after the New Year's fast, our church doing a fast for a week. I fasted about marriage, and he just came in right after that. He was handsome. He, was a doctor. Like, he just checked a lot of boxes. He was tall. And I thought, oh, wow. And it was like immediate sparks. So I'm like, oh, sparks. So that means this is it, right? Like, there's an immediate attraction right there. And it's funny, my friend said, oh, he reminds me of your ex. And that should have been my red flag right there. That should have been my red flag right there. But there were just a lot of inconsistencies between us. It was hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. That already should have been like a red flag. But in my mind, just the way he came in, I thought he was sent from the Lord.
Yeah.
And I asked the friends who backed me up. And the ones who said they didn't feel that, I got upset at them.
Yeah,
I was like, it's like, you're not supporting me.
Yeah.
You're not, you're just jealous, and I did not listen. I just had to like crash and fall to discover it myself, and that's when I learned, I need to be careful what type of counsel I'm seeking, from whom I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Seeking to, yeah.
You just reminded me of two stories that I'm also going to share. For these stories, there's another point that I want to make, is that the counterfeit will always come before the promise.
Amen.
comes.
Amen.
That's something that I feel like the Lord has like taught me over time, is when a word has been released, when a prophetic word has been released, we need to understand that like before it was in a hidden place. It was hidden. But now the word has been released, which means warfare has also been released on the word, right? That's what we've heard, things like contend for your prophecy, right? Just because you've received a prophetic word doesn't mean it goes from prophetic word released to prophetic word coming to into fruition. There's a middle part of warfare that happens with that word getting accomplished. And so I've come to learn that the counterfeit oftentimes will come before the promise, because the counterfeit is birthed in that season of waiting, right? So it normally is the product of that shows you where you really are while you're waiting. And so I'm reminded of just two examples. One of them, a relationship one, and then one of them was a different one. The relationship one, this was like years ago, when I was, pre-engagement, pre-marriage, pre-all of that. I was in a season of life where the Lord had already started talking about marriage. I had like, girl, sis, I can't tell you how many prophetic words I got about marriage. Like, someone would literally see me and be like, I don't know. I keep on seeing a ring on your finger. It got to a point where it was just like, this thing has to be happening tomorrow, because it's just so much. So I took this marriage fast at the time. I did this 21, this one of those type of 21-day fast. And right after I completed that fast, this guy came along.
I'm telling you, the timing,
that's the thing. Like, y'all, we have to be discerning of the timing.
Yes.
So this guy came along right at the end of that fast.
Wow.
But because I was getting this word so much, and of course I was desiring it, I didn't even realize an idol had already mounted up, this idol of marriage.
Okay.
So I was convinced that, okay, this makes sense. He has to be my husband.
Right.
Because I've gotten dreams, I've gotten all these different things.
Right.
And then he came right after the fast. This was the experience that taught me that the enemy is so strategic. I don't think we get it.
Yeah, that's true.
The enemy is so strategic. He said, oh, bet. I'm going to bring him right after the fast so that you see it as the answer from the fast. And so just to tell you, that was probably the worst, most unhealthy, most toxic relationship of my life. It was horrible. And even when there were so many red flags, because that's the other thing, right? Idols will be scales over your eyes. So even when there were so many red flags, I was convinced that, like, oh, maybe God is teaching me perseverance. Maybe God is teaching me how to put up with someone's red flags. I was convincing myself of all the different things. And do you know the crazy thing? Is Tabi came after that season.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just even sharing that to just say that, like, be very careful of that thing that comes right after the prayer, right after test it first. That's even the more reason why.
Yes.
Because when you were praying, it wasn't just God that was listening. And so the last example I'll give, and then I'm done, is a financial one. So during a period where I was really broke, like super duper broke, and this was like a little bit, I wasn't working that job that I was talking about. I had just moved into an apartment that I knew was the Lord's provision. I actually moved in with Anne. This was the first time we had moved in together. And we didn't have any furniture. None.
Wow.
And we had spent all our money on the deposits. And so I didn't even have money for furniture. So I remember we really needed a couch, because I'm like, I need a couch. And so I was in my bathroom, and it was just a quiet prayer. I was just like, Lord, I need a couch. God, Anne and I need a couch. Please provide us with a couch. I wasn't even asking for much, just enough money for a couch. I kid you not. That same night, not even joking, the same night, I get this DM on Instagram from this guy. And this guy DMs me on Instagram, and he's like, hey, I forget what he said. He was complimenting me. He was like, hey, like, you're so pretty. Like, no, I remember. Okay, I posted something on my story, but as like a joke. Like, I think I posted something like, somebody cash at me, or, when people make those jokes online about PayPal and Zelle and all that stuff. And so after that prayer, I get this DM from this guy. He was responding to that story, and he was like, send me your PayPal. I was like, wait, what? And in my head, I'm like, the timing of this, it has to be the Lord, because in my head, I'm thinking, what kind of coincidence is this?
You're right.
I just prayed for this, and this guy is asking me for my PayPal. And so but I wasn't too quick though, because I'm like, I don't want to seem desperate. So I was just kind of chatting for a little bit. And I was like, why? Like, what? You just decided you want to send me money? And he was like, I don't know. I really love the stuff you post. You're really wholesome. You're really pretty. Da da da. So yeah, I just want to bless you. He said, bless.
Oh.
So he's like, I just want to bless you.
Language.
Yeah, the spiritual language. I'm like, this has to be the Lord. And I heard a voice say, that is not me.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was very shocking because I almost kind of got upset because I'm like, well, I just prayed to you and this just happened. So if this is not you, huh? Like, so then when will you come into the picture and provide? So I just kind of was like, can I trust that voice that just said that is not me?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me test it. So I just prayed to the Lord and I was like, Lord, if this is not you, then expose it. Make it clear that it is not you. And I kid you not, as we continued talking, this guy started saying, you know, I just really love your body. You're so pretty. Like, I just look at all your pictures on Instagram. And it was more explicit. Yeah, but I don't even want to go into detail with what he said. But he literally started complimenting my body, almost in a very lustful way. It was at that moment that I knew this cannot be the Lord. And I think it's interesting how that happened after I just paused. Like you said, checked the label. And I just prayed. And I'm like, Lord, make it obvious that this is not you. And he starts lusting. And in my head, I'm like, there's no way, even if the Lord wanted to bless me with money for a couch, there's no way it would come in a package that doesn't bear the fruits of the Lord.
No, and definitely in a creepy package.
Not in a creepy package. So I rejected it. You know, I turned it, I blocked him because I was like, whoa, that's so inappropriate for you to compliment me in that kind of way. I blocked him. And I kid you not, like 2 days after that, then a really good close friend of mine reached out to me and said, hey, like, I don't know, I just feel like God just wants me to send you this. Wow. And this person sent me the exact amount of money that was needed for the couch. Does that make sense?
I just realized something, Ekemini. That money from that man, it almost sounds like it was a form of prostitution almost. He was looking at you lustfully and was offering money, implying
meaning
that he
it
would
would
expect something in return.
And on top of that, it wouldn't be God's provision. It would be my beauty getting something for me. Does that make sense? Like, so almost like a transaction. Literally.
Because it sounds like he was expecting more than... It sounds like he was expecting something in return from you. So it was almost like... Yeah, like it wasn't a no strings attached income. It was like he was expecting a hookup in return. Yeah, almost like a form of prostitution in a way, which is such an adulteration of God wanting to bless you.
Right. And I wouldn't have even known until I had actually received it.
That he's expecting more because the fact that he was speaking lustfully after offering you money implies he had the expectation of what would happen after he gives you money.
But you see how a person who is clearly not submitted to the Lord can justify that and say, well, you know, not everyone is perfect. Like, obviously, if he tries anything, I'm going to reject it, but I'll still accept the money. It's God's provision. People do that all the time. They convince themselves that, no, this has to be God. You know, I'll just say no to whatever it is that he's offering. And also what he was willing to give for no reason, or at least I thought for no reason, was way more than what I needed.
Which kind of confirms my prostitution hypothesis.
Please. I don't know how he would have succeeded with that.
Like, I don't know, but you know, and what you're saying kind of brings certain things to mind. Like you said, when we get a word for our future, we're tempted to already mentally put ourselves already in that space to already partner with that word in the future. Like, for example, a future husband. We already mentally make ourselves married to the person before we've even had time to test the fruit. Tested it. Like what you were saying, check inside the bag, check the fruit, pause, see what the fruit is. If I'm already mentally there, why do I need to check the fruit if I've already said this is my husband or if this is the job opportunity? If mentally I'm already in the future and not in the present, I'm already putting myself in covenant with that promise before the assignment.
Yeah.
And that's where the danger.
What is happening
Yeah,
out here?
someone's honking out there.
What in the world is happening out there?
I do not know. But I think there's a danger in that, because I was just talking to someone who said, oh, well, I was told this is my future spouse, and they're already fighting, and there's already like a lot of turmoil involved. And they're like, you're not married yet, right? Like, this is just the dating
Evaluate.
period. You're still evaluating. But they removed the evaluation because in their mind they're already married.
That's good.
So if you're already like in that season, you don't feel a reason to test it.
Right. And even with that, like, excuse me, even with the example of the money for the couch, right? That even another marker for identifying a counterfeit from a promise is that a counterfeit will always require compromise. And so even in the example you've given, and even in the couch example, like, without even knowing, there would have been some sort of compromise on my part, emotionally, or with my conscience, morally, physically, whatever the case is, right? But a promise or a gift from God, it doesn't come with compromise. Like the one that my friend actually blessed me with, that is a friend who respects me. Right. Who honors me, who didn't till today. No, it's not, you know what I mean? It was just a blessing, almost in the same way where, you've heard those stories of where someone just felt led by the Lord to buy somebody's groceries, right? It's not like a large sum of money to do something, but it provides just what they need, right? In that time, right? So that's just, like a counterfeit, it will require some sort of compromise or some sort of like you turning away from something, closing your eye and like turning a blind eye. That's what I mean. Turning a blind eye to something, ignoring the flags, like you said.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Because Jesus said, a house divided upon itself cannot stand. So God would never send something that would conflict with the purpose.
He is and the purpose.
The purpose he has for you, your giftings. It would never compromise your walk with the Lord. It would never compromise your calling.
Your integrity.
Your mission, or your ministry. And if it's compromising all of that, then that's bad fruit.
Yeah.
That's the Lord will never contradict himself.
Oof, the Lord will never contradict himself.
No.
Yeah.
So if he's called you to something, he wouldn't send something else to contradict what he already called you to. If he's called me to missions, for example, and I feel a call to go all over the world, and then I meet someone who says, well, I didn't receive that. I feel called to just stay right here in, somewhere random, Milwaukee, and like live my whole life in Milwaukee. Well, why would the Lord put together two people with completely different life missions and life goals that contradicts itself? He doesn't contradict himself. A house divided upon itself cannot stand.
And he provides for what he purposes.
Exactly.
Whatever it is that God has called you to, he provides. If God has called you to go on mission trips, he's not going to send he's not going to send some old man who is lusting after you and promising to pay for all your mission trips. Does that make sense? It just doesn't make sense. But you see, the mind without Christ is thinking, well, this has to be God. But it can't be God because God will never contradict himself. God is not, like you said, is not for prostituting yourself. God is not for you compromising your values or you having a sugar daddy that is providing for your mission trips. And another thing I really want to add, like I've literally been thinking if I should say this, but I feel it so strongly on my heart. I do not know who this is for, but I feel like the Lord wants me to say that everything that we're saying even applies if you are currently an international student or somebody that is here without, you've been praying to the Lord for settlement. You've been praying to the Lord to make a way for you to be able to settle here permanently. The Lord will not do that by you entering a fake marriage to get a green card. I don't know why I feel that strongly to say it. Because I feel like in our culture, even in the body of Christ, we've turned a blind eye to certain things where we convince ourselves, well, God knows. God knows that I need to stay here and be able to work. So maybe, God has provided a way. This person is asking me to pay them money and they'll marry me and we'll basically have a fake marriage. Maybe this is God. That's not God.
No.
Does that make sense? No matter how, like, you can try to excuse it or reason it in whatever way you can. Like Sarah said, God will never contradict himself. If God has given you a word that he's going to settle you here, he is going to do it in a way that reflects his character, in a way that accomplishes his purpose for your life, and in a way that upholds that moral integrity in scripture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so important to check our own hearts. And I'm not saying this is for 100% of the time, but fraction of the time, idolatry could fuel counterfeits. It almost creates a bed for counterfeits to lie on. It's the catalyst to breed counterfeits, idolatry. So if I am, which I have in the past, idolized marriage, then I'd be quicker to jump into any relationship that's thrown my way, independent of if it's from the Lord or not. If I'm idolizing finances, then I'm just tempted to jump into a job whether or not it's in alignment with the Lord's calling for me, which has happened to me. I remember I was deciding between two jobs, and one job was offering significantly more than the other job, but it would require me to be much busier than I am with the previous job, which would mean I wouldn't have time for other aspects of my life, of friends and church and ministry and all my other callings. I would just be in the hospital days. So I remember my mother was just saying, life is more than just an income. But if that was an idol in my heart, that would be very difficult to give up. So I think it's just also a check on our spirit to really wonder, am I idolizing this? Am I idolizing security? Is that why I want to jump into, I don't know, like a fake marriage for citizenships? Am I idolizing marriage? Am I idolizing money?
That's so good. Y'all, this has been so good. This has been so good. Before we end, I definitely want to just talk on, like, what are some, for those that are listening, right, that are maybe right now feeling convicted or realizing, oh man, this thing is a counterfeit, or, oh, I need to do better with discerning counterfeits from the real thing. What are some nuggets that you would share as next steps for anyone who is listening to this and trying to figure out, okay, this is all great, but what do I do now about this situation?
I would say check the fruit. Like even my cousin, he's in a relationship with a non-believer, and they're unequally yoked. He's Christian, she's not. And the fruit that's obvious is we don't really see him anymore in the family. He's just not around. He kind of disappeared, and he's not really growing in his walk. He hasn't really been going to church. And he hasn't been even introducing his, partner to the family. It's a bit off. So I say check the fruit. Fruit is objective. You can't fake fruit. You can't fake good fruit. And seek godly counsel with someone who is a wise believer. Check the fruit, because even the people around you may be Christian, but what does their walk look like? And are they godly? And even if they are, do they have solid relationships, solid community? Or are they having a fight every week with a different friend? Like, what's their situation? Like, if their life if it's giving messy, then probably not the wisest person to get counsel from, because I think that's another trap people fall in. They think like everyone in church should be a pass to get advice from. Not necessarily. Just because they're in church or involved in ministry, church doesn't mean that they would be wise counsel. So be careful who you ask advice from in the church. Make sure their fruit is good before you get their counsel. And check the fruit for yourself. Get wise counsel. Pray to the Lord. And sometimes when I'm really stuck, I do a good fast, and the Lord will confirm one way to the other. If you ask the Lord, please confirm: is this from you or not? Is this a good fruit or not? He wants to show you.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. And to add to that, like I would also say, like you said, check the fruit and then check your heart.
Yeah.
You know, checking the fruit requires an outward look at that person, but checking your heart requires an inward look at yourself. Check your heart for idols. That's like a huge one. Like, if you have to start by being honest with yourself. Am I idolizing marriage? If I'm idolizing marriage, then I am not even capable of properly discerning if this is even a counterfeit or a promise. Like an idol disqualifies you from even being able to what's the word? An idol disqualifies you from being able to take your own judgment or discernment at face value. So it's important that you check your heart. If there's any idol that you identify or any idol that the Holy Spirit reveals and identifies, then you need to repent. Take it to the Lord. Repent. Because if you don't deal with that idol, then you could be listening to all of this and the enemy is still going to deceive you tomorrow to say, don't listen to anything that they said. Girl, the Lord told you you're getting married. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you have to confront that idol, deal with it. And as Sarah said, like if it's something that is major, fast. Yeah. If it's something that is a whole like destiny decision, definitely fast, because when you fast, again, you're shutting down your idols, you're shutting down your flesh, and you're basically surrendering to God. And you're strengthening your spirit man when you fast. And so fasting helps to revert that order of dominance, making your spirit above your flesh.
Just know the Lord wants you to be free. He wants you to live a rich and generous and abundant life. In Jeremiah it says, "For I know the plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." Sorry. In Jeremiah it says, "I know the plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future." So I know hearing all these counterfeits, it's easy to hyper focus on removal, following God, I have to remove all this stuff from my life. But it's just like a pruning where he wants to remove the unfruitful things from our lives. He wants to remove the dead things from our lives, and he wants to multiply the good things because he wants us to live a life of abundance. I forgot what the Psalm say. He said that we will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, and he wants us to live out and receive his goodness. And it's hard to receive his promise if counterfeits are bringing about clutter and occupying a space that is meant for the promise.
That's good, right? Like God doesn't just want to keep on saying, beware, counterfeit. No, like he also wants to bless you.
Exactly.
So that's really good. Well, y'all, this was so amazing.
Yes, I had so much fun. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you, Ekemini. This is such an amazing experience. And
thank you so much for coming. Like you just have so much wisdom, and I know you're also like a really busy person, so it just means a lot that you made the time to bless the Sunshines, the Yellow Podcast community.
Love it. Yes.
With all of these gems. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Of course, if you want more content and updates, make sure to follow the Yellow Podcast on social media. On Instagram, you can follow me as well. And then I will also be linking Sarah's Instagram handle as well. So be sure to follow Sarah on Instagram if you want to, if you enjoyed anything this episode and you want to DM her and ask her questions, okay? Or maybe you just, whatever it is, that you want to, if you want to connect with any of us, be sure to follow. Be sure to also subscribe to our newsletter to join the Yellow Podcast community. I believe the link is also going to be on the YouTube. And of course, I'm not going to leave here without shouting out my own book, okay? be sure to grab Emotions in His Image on Amazon and Barnes and Noble if you want to learn more about like idols and just being able to discern better, starting with your emotions, like being able to even label and be aware of the emotions that God has given you and then the emotions that the enemy is influencing and manipulating. All right, so thank you guys for listening. Till next time. Love you guys so much.